What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Brandon, also known as Staff Sergeant Moultrie. I'm going to come with a little video about Air Assault School and how I got Air Assault School and my experience. So, who am I? Like I said, I am Brandon, or you can call me Mo. Most of my friends call me Mo. It's short for my last name, Moultrie. So you call me Mo. So, Air Assault School. So I got Air Assault School when I was in Korea about 2.5 years ago. At the time, I was operations NCO. If you know Army, you know what that is. I worked as operations, went over all the operations, ran the operations, and part of that, I'm in charge of schools. So honestly, I stumbled across Air Assault School. So at first, that's something that I wanted, but I didn't really care too much for it because it's hard to get. Usually in my unit I was in Korea at Camp Humphreys, so I didn't really think much of it. So they had tryouts for it. So the tryouts consist of Army physical fitness tests and a 12-mile ruck march. So I know I didn't prepare, or I wasn't training for it, so I knew I didn't have a chance, or I thought I didn't have a chance to do it until my first sergeant at the time told me, like, hey, Sergeant Moultrie, why don't you go ahead and try out for the Air Assault or the Air Assault School? So I was like, all right, first sergeant, you said do it. He's Air Assault and Airborne. So I was like, hey, why not? So the next morning, I went up there and I did the APFT. I didn't do the best, but I did decent at the time. And then I did the 12-mile ruck march. So when I did the 12-mile ruck march, that's my first time ever doing a ruck march. In the Army, I never did a 12-mile ruck march. All the ruck marches I did was like 6 miles, 8 miles. So that was my first time ever doing a 12-mile ruck march, and I felt every part of it. But I ain't gonna lie, my first sergeant that persuaded me to actually try out for it, he did come out there and run with me, or he did a ruck march with me, so that kind of motivated me. But I did make it at the time. I was legit the last person to qualify for the 12-mile ruck march. So with that being said, I got a slot for Air Assault School, and I was able to come in. I was able to get a slot for Air Assault School for my unit. It was like 3 of us. It was me and 2 specialists. At the time, I was an E5, a sergeant, and we all got a slot. So I was excited about it. It's my first Army school that I have ever been to. So I was kind of stoked about that. So, but the way I was feeling at that 12-mile ruck march, I was like, oh nah, something got to give. So I knew, like, once I was getting closer, or once I recovered from that actual 12-mile, I had to prepare myself for school. Air Assault School, because I didn't want to fail. I know the slots are limited, and I was like, oh, it's a one-time chance for me to get this school. So I was like, yeah, I gotta train for this. I gotta go hard in the gym. I gotta start running, start rucking, and doing what I gotta do to get right. So after that, I started running every day. I started rucking every Saturday, and then I started doing like push-ups, like a lot of calisthenics, so push-ups, sit-ups, all that, just to get myself right. So I had to do that, and then as the time came close to my school, I made sure I was in the standard in Air Assault School, which I go over, and I go over that when I start listening and stuff. So when you get to Air Assault School, day 0. So in Korea, like I said, I was stationed in Camp Humphreys, and the Air Assault School was in Camp Casey. So you all that know Korea knows the different camps that you have in Korea. So from Camp Humphreys to Camp Casey is about 5 hours. So they had a bus for everybody that's from Camp Humphreys that's going to Air Assault School. We caught a bus that like early that morning. So day 0, we get to Camp Casey. It's like a lot of us in processing. We see the black hats, which are the instructors. So when you get there, you turn in your paperwork, you go over all the stuff you have, or you need the signatures from your command team saying you can actually attend Air Assault School. So once they check over that, okay, boom, you are slotted, or you are in the seat, or you are in the school. If you do not have the right paperwork, they do have walk-ons that also come there the same day, just in case somebody that's hard slotted don't get their slot and they don't have the paperwork that they need, so they get booted out. So that walk-on replaces them. So day 0 was pretty chill. We basically got to know who the cadre was. They kind of went over what we're gonna actually do throughout the course, and they basically enforced that, or they basically made sure that we understand that it is a attention detail school. So day 0, I was pretty nervous about everything. They briefed us about the next day, which is day 1. So on day 1, we did we did the so day 1. Oh, day 1 is 0430. We met at the turf field at Kent Casey. So funny story. So we went there at 0430. Nobody knew what to expect. Everybody's there in formation, laughing and joking, like, "Oh yeah, we in air assault school. We got this, we got this." Everybody hyped, everybody joking, everybody. Some people sad, you know, they know what to expect. So we got there joking and laughing. Then we seen like a couple of vans pull up from a distance. So we like who is that? Who is that? So we see a whole bunch of people in black shirts and army fatigue pants, like the army uniform pants. They run towards. Shut up! Shut up! Shut up! Get down! Get down! Get down! And push-up position. Get down! Get down! The Y squad! The Y squad! I kid you not, they smoked this for like an hour and a half to 2 hours straight. Like no joking, no breaks. No, they didn't say, "Oh, let's take a little 5-minute break." No, they smoked this for an hour and a half to 2 hours straight. I kid you not. I was like, "Oh man, I don't think I really want air assault, man." They smoked this bad. So they smoked this, and then immediately after you get smoked, we formed up and we marched to the 2-mile start point. So on day 1, you do the smoking, the initial smoking, and then you do a 2-mile run in uniform, like top, what I got on, top and bottom, in running shoes, PT shoes. So you do a 18-mile run in your uniform in running shoes, and if you don't pass it, then you get dropped right there. That's like not meeting one of the standards. So if you don't pass it at that time, you get dropped. So once you pass the 18-mile, the 18-minute 2-mile, you form up again, and you go into the obstacle course, the infamous obstacle course that you do. To let you know, the air assault school I went to was trained. It was MTT guys, meaning guys traveled. It came from Fort Benning, where the original air assault school was, and they came to Korea to give the air assault school to Korea students or Korea soldiers, people stationed in Korea. So like once they drop you, that's it. It ain't no like, "Oh, next week I come back and I'll take care of it then." But no, you got dropped right then. So we did an obstacle course. So obstacle course, I thought, "Oh yeah, we're gonna walk to the obstacle course." No, we had formation, we ran to the obstacle course. And in Korea, it's lots of hills, and in Kent Casey, it's lots of hills. So the obstacle course, where we ran for 2 miles, it was at the bottom of the hill, but the obstacle course was up the hill. So we had to run up the hill and form back up again. So when we did that, they let us catch a break and get some water. You know, I think we had our breakfast MRE at the time, and then they brief you about the courses or the obstacles you have to pass and how to actually navigate each obstacle and the route of the course. So they made it known that you have to. So out of all the courses, all the obstacle courses, you have to pass the main 2. They went over how to actually do all of them. So they briefed on how to navigate it and how to get through everything and make sure that you have to you can't fail 2 courses. You can't not complete 2 obstacles. So we getting ready for that, you know, stretching out, drinking, get hydrated. So we start the confidence climb obstacle, which is one of the obstacles you have to pass, a tough one, and the confidence climb. So we get to the confidence climb, which is the first one. So we climb up that, climb down. So I thought like, "Oh, we can walk from each obstacle." No, you get smoked, or you do an exercise in between each obstacle. So after the confidence climb, you go to the tough one. After the tough one, you go to the bellied over, and then keep going. But you're getting smoked in between each one. So after like the 4th one, I'm like, I'm numb. I'm like done. I'm like, "Oh man, I'm so tired, man. I don't think I can pass." So we begin the obstacles. So I'm knocking them out. I didn't have no trouble throughout none of the obstacles until like the last obstacle, which is the high beam step over. So basically you put your hands behind your head and you just step over each beam. Sorry. The one where you jump over, the one where you put your 2 hands on the beam and you jump over. Reason I messed up at first because I was tired. I'm not gonna lie. So my legs were tired, so it actually hit the beam, and the dude had to take my ID card. And he's like, all right, you do it again, and you drop. So I was like, nah, I'm all the way at the end. I can't fail. There's no way I can fail. So I jumped over, and I completed all the obstacles, and I felt so relieved, man. I was like, oh man, I'm thankful for doing this, man. So my body's tired. I was like, all right, I got one thing accomplished. I'm ready to start training. And come to find out is, once you pass all the obstacles, or once you pass day 0, then you actually are in air assault school. So once you pass the obstacle, or day 1, you get the helmet with your number on it, and then you get all the other the air assault handbook, and you get all the other jazz once you pass day 1. So phase one is the book. I call it the book phase, because that's when you like in your book. So you go over the all the nomenclatures of the aircraft. You go over the types of aircraft you're going to be using, or the air assault operations involved. You go over the capacity of different aircraft. These go all the numbers and anything you could think about the types of aircraft you deal with. That we learn like in phase 1. So it's like always book. You still do PT. You still be up all day studying. So that's something you have to pass. So at the end of phase 1, you do take a written test. So for that written test, it just goes over everything you study, the types of aircrafts, the capacities, so numbers, formulas. So it's all that. So it's a lot you have to remember. So once you pass that test, then you go to phase 2. So phase 2 is sling loads. I think sling loads phase gets a lot of people. During that phase, I wasn't really worried, because like I'm a type of person, like I don't really study the book, but like if I see something one time, I can get it. So when we did the sling load phase, we spent all day and night like going over like you touch what you see, We go over like how to like properly sequence of a sling load, inspect the sling load, preparing any kind of equipment for sling load operations. So every night and day, that's what we did. So when we test out for that, that involves that doesn't involve a written test, but it does involve a hands-on test, actually sling inspection. So when I did that, I felt pretty confident. So I went up to the equipment, and I told it straight to, all right, ready. So I went through my motions, I went through my sequence number, my sequence. I did it. So you gotta find 3 faults within that sling load inspection. So I found 2, but I was stuck. And it's a certain time period that you have to find everything. So after the second deficiency, I couldn't find any other. So I'm looking. And I almost gave up. I ain't gonna lie, I almost gave up. And come to find out, it was the seatbelt. So the seatbelts have to be fastened when you see on sling load operations. So I caught that last minute, well, right before the timer ran out. I caught that, and then I passed that phase. So, but sling load operations, that's where like the attention detail, it's like the bread and butter of air assault. So that's where attention to detail really plays a factor in when you do sling load operations. So once you pass the sling load inspection, then you go to phase 3, which is the rappel. So a lot of people say they're not scared of heights until they actually have to be where like in heights are involved. So first we practice on tying like a Swiss seat, doing like you know, like tying up your like a harness if you had a man-made harness. So you do that, and then during this phase we do a lot of rappels. So we rappel off like you did in base training. We rappel off the wall, and then we rappel off the open end of the tower. So the wall side is like where the wall is, and then the open end is like where it's a cliff, and then it's like open. So it's like open end. So you just jump off, and then you practice on rappelling. So you do that a couple times with your ruck, and then you do that a couple times slick. So you do that a couple times each rappel, and then lastly of rappel phase you do the rappel out of the helicopter, which is fun. So helicopter, that's my first time ever doing that. So it was pretty sketchy, or it was pretty scary. So I did that. It wasn't too bad, honestly. You just do it one time, and then I guess it's for the experience. You do it one time. So that's all the phases that you do. But in phase 1, you do a 6-mile ruck march. So the 6-mile ruck march, you do have to be in 1 hour and 30 minutes, and that is 15 minute mile, no 15 minute per mile pace that you do. And that it wasn't bad honestly. It's not that long, but like I said, I went in Korea and there's a lot of hills, so I can get a lot of people if you like barely passing the time limit. Also in phase 1, as far as physical demands, you do a 4-mile run. So I warned you, if you go into air assault school, they say the 4-mile run is in a 9-minute pace. It is not. I promise you. It's not in a 9-minute. It's not in an 8:30 mile pace. I thought the same thing, so I was like, oh yeah, I can do that. That's easy. Man, I got there. I had my watch. I kid you not. I had my watch. And you form up in each class. You form up by platoon, sorry. So the 3 platoons. I was in third one, the last platoon. So it's first, second, third. And you have a student platoon sergeant on each for each platoon. So they brief you that you have to stay in your position that you start at. No matter if the first person in front of you fall out or the person behind you fall out, you have to stay where you at in the formation. So boom, all right, we get ready, we get started. Start running, okay. Well, you know, everybody take off and they all motivated. I'm like, okay, we had a good little pace. Then I looked at my watch and it said we had an 8:30 minute per mile pace. So I'm like, we move a little quick. Like they ain't brief us on this. So we move a little quick now, and then slow down a little bit. But so we doing this. They sing a cadence, so you have to sing cadence. And you have to project your voice. So when they brief us, like, hey, you're not motivated. We'll keep running. So you gotta sing cadence while running at 8:30 minute per mile pace. So we start speeding up. I kid you not. Next thing I know, I look at my watch and we had a 7:45 minute per mile pace. So we booking it. We rolling. But we still sing cadence. So my platoon sergeant at the time, it was an E7. He was the platoon sergeant of our platoon. He was singing cadence, motivated. So as he's calling cadence, he started drifting back. Like I said, you have to stay where you at in the formation. So you platoon sergeant, so you have to stay out there at the platoon sergeant spot, leading platoon, singing cadence. So he's singing cadence, he started drifting back. And the air assault sergeant was like, "Hey, get back in your position. He called cadence." So he's like, "All right." So he called cadence, and then he started drifting back. And then the air assault sergeant was like, "Are you falling out? And then he's like, if you fall out one more time, if you fall back one more time, I'm dropping, you get in the van. So he started, I'm looking at him, and I'm like, yeah, he ain't gonna make it. So he end up falling out, and he end up going in the van. So I mean, that was unfortunate, but you know, somebody else got out there, we just kept rolling on. So that's the 2 main physical things you do in beginning phases, is that 6-mile ruck and that 4-mile run. So make sure, if you go into air assault school, make sure you are running faster than 9-minute per mile pace over distance, you know. So I went over all the phases. So the last day almost caused me to fail. I'm not gonna lie, almost caused me to fail. So on the last day, the morning of graduation, you do a 12-mile ruck. So during this time, I went to air assault school in like October. It was October time frame. So it was pretty cold in Korea. So we got up, we was briefed to get up at 03:30, 04, to get ready, get started, basically get ready, get up and get started, begin the 12-mile ruck. Cause we had graduation at like 9. So for the 12-mile ruck, you have to do it in 3 hours or less, and that is a 15 minute per mile pace as well. So if you don't do that, then you out of there. So we did that. So we got ready, we get ready, get everything started, and then we rolling. So everybody's take off. I take off too. I'm motivated. I'm cold as heck. So we take off, we get ready, we get to running, and then Korea. So Korea's route for the 12 mile was 3 miles up, 3 miles back. But at the turnaround at 3 miles is a big hill you go up. So you go up a big hill and you come back down. So it's 3 miles out, 3 miles back, 3 miles out, 3 miles back, and that's your 12 mile. So how I almost fell. So for some reason, like me training up for air assault school, I had like my lower back was tweaked. I think from working out or something, but my lower back was like a little iffy and a little jittery. So once we did our 12 mile, once we started doing our 12 mile, I did my 3 miles out and 3 miles back. And I was at a good pace. And then I went 3 miles back and almost up to that hill where I said turnarounds at. I started feeling like a little jitter in my back, and it felt weird. So on the way up to that hill, I went up to the hill, and then at the end of the hill is when you get your air assault wings. So they give you air assault wings, like, hey, you made it. As long as you make it back to the finish line, you made it. So that kind of like motivated me. So I'm like, yeah. So I'm turning up. So on the way back down from the hill, I started running, and I think I stepped the wrong way, and like my lower back, I had a sharp pain in my lower back. So I'm like, and I literally just stopped and started walking. And I was like, oh man, I don't think I can go no more. So I thought about the air assault wings. I'm like, nah, I gotta keep going. But like, I tweaked something in my back, and I really thought I was gonna make it. So I mean, I pushed on, I drove on, and I finished. I was a bad 12 man. I finished at like 240 something, but I hurt my back, so I ain't even think I was gonna make that. So I finally made it. I was excited. It was cold as heck, And I'm glad I didn't stop, man. I'm glad I didn't fail, but it was cold as heck. So once we did that, we went back to the barracks, got cleaned up, packed our stuff up, went to graduation, and then me and the 2 other guys from my unit, 2 specialists, they actually passed as well. So we was all hyped about that, and it's just I don't know. I'm glad I made it, even though I wasn't planning on going in the first place. I'm glad I made it. So that was that. It wasn't too bad, but still, I'm not gonna say it's the hardest, but it's not the easiest as well. So if you go into air assault school, please run and ruck. That's the main thing. All the push-ups and stuff is all fine, but the running ruck is like your bread and butter. I'm telling you. But for all you young soldiers out there that want to go to air assault school or want to know, hey, what's the benefits of going to air assault school? I tell you this, like I tell soldiers, like I told soldiers before, air assault, even though it's kind of hard to get, depending on where you at, please get it. Hey, it sets you apart. It sets you apart from your peers. If you want, if you fight for promotion points, it's worth promotion points. If you want to see what an army school like, an army military school like, that's your first step you can do. Also, if you're looking to go to any other school like Ranger or Sapper, that's like an introduction. Air assault is like an introduction, or it gives you like a gist of how it will be, like as far as the smoking and the standards and stuff. So I highly recommend everybody to go to air assault school. If you got any questions, comment down below. I'm gonna try my best to get to you or reply back with any answers that you may have. Also, follow me on Instagram, Molt_the_goat. That is MOLT_THEGOAT on Instagram. So follow me. Make sure you like, subscribe to this video. Please share this video. Please refer this video to anybody that's interested in air assault school, want to go to air assault school. I can go into more depth if you hit me up on Instagram or you comment down below. If you have any questions, like I said, please feel free to hit me up. I'm always available. I'm always willing to talk. I'm always willing to give advice. So feel free. Hey, I'm out.
They can't wear my chain no more. can't take no more. Waiting on your king, you could wait some more. Yeah, I remember days.